Our next speaker is Dr. Sofey Saidi. We are honored to have Dr. Saidi. She has obtained her PhD in International Relations from Geneva, Switzerland, and has been a member of the Glovecraft Institute at Geneva School of Diplomacy. As a fluent Farsi and Spanish speaker, Dr. Saidi specializes in the Middle East, Latin America, and global politics. She has taught courses on ethnic and cultural conflict and international relations at the University of Baltimore School of Public and International Affairs at the Center for Negotiation and Conflict Management. Dr. Saidi is a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee at the National Council of Resistance of Iran. It is a pleasure to have you join us today. You have the floor.
Greetings to all of you and congratulations on this momentous occasion, anniversary of the International Day of Women. I would like to start by extending my appreciation to California Women's Society for Democracy in Iran for organizing this wonderful event and also inviting me to speak with you today. On this day, I salute the women of our homeland, Iran, who on a daily basis are struggling against the religious fundamentalism ruling the country. And at the global level, I would like to mention a few words as well in terms of status of women. Women have made great strides, and I think we all agree, and they have achieved much in the path towards equality in all spheres. But there's still work remaining. There's still glaring disparities in terms of the women's and men's rights and their achievement. I would like to start just by giving you a few examples in terms of what is happening statistically in this country, in the United States. In terms of corporate leadership, there are 40 women CEOs, and as well as statistically, women holding 7.4% of all the CEO roles. In terms of political leadership, at the start of the 117th Congress in 2021, this year, there were 26 women serving in the Senate, and there are 118 women voting members of the House of Representatives, which is 27.3% of the House members. And also in terms of gender pay gap, there is still 18% less pay for women. But ladies and gentlemen, there is clearly a vast disparity between the status of women globally and status of women in Iran. While in this country, we discuss gender gap and also number of women in CEO roles, women in Iran at this moment are strategizing ways to struggle against the double oppression of also living under the theocracy, the theocratic tyranny of a religious fundamentalism that denies their right to their existence. In the 21st century, Iranian women are resisting being forced into living conditions that is similar to the medieval era. A few days ago, on March 9th, Mr. Javid Rahman, the special rapporteur on the situation of human rights in Iran, said in a report that was presented to the 47-member body of the United Nations Human Rights Commission that women and girls in Iran continue to be treated as second-class citizens. A month ago, Zahra Ismaili, who had witnessed hanging of 16 men, suffered a fatal heart attack, but the authorities decided to hang her dead body as a punishment. During current President Rouhani and his term in office, 140 women have been executed. Let me name a few of the women political prisoners right now in Iran گلرخ ایرانی، زینب جلالیان، مریم اکبری منفرد، آتنا دائمی، سپیده قلگان and also let me also mention to you that there are numerous to name here during this program, unfortunately. Today, however, I would like to speak to you about solutions and a path forward. Today, I speak to you as a woman who has been a member of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, the NCRI, for the past 27 years. The NCRI is the most organized and the longest lasting resistance organization of Iran that is comprised of mostly women. The president-elect of the NCRI is a very capable lady, Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. And we in the organized resistance have no doubt that the attainment of women's rights in Iran is intertwined with the general liberation struggle for all Iranians to end the suppression and the double oppression. The Iranian women are very aware that it is in the path of a general liberation struggle to rid the homeland from this religious fundamentalism, the dictatorship ruling in Iran, that they can attain their liberty and their rightful status. Most recently, within the past 2 years, Iranian women played an active role in the uprisings of 2018, 2019, and last month's demonstrations in Sistan and Baluchistan. These women raised the biggest challenge to the ruling dictatorship. Now, the prime examples are all of the women who are currently resisting in multiple fronts in Iran, as well as women at the forefront in the Ashraf 3. Today, I speak to you as the only Iranian woman who spent time as human rights monitor during the liberation struggles in Central America in the decades of 1980s. I've spoken to women who fought along with their male compatriots against their tyrannical governments in Nicaragua and in El Salvador. They were told of future equal rights that were never realized. The NCRI and its biggest member organization, PMOI, are the only resistant organizations that have made women's equal rights and leadership a reality prior to attaining a democratic government. Nearly 3 decades ago, the NCRI ratified a plan for women's rights. Most recently, Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, the president of NCRI, offered a 10-point plan for future of Iran. Now, this 10-point plan outlines the NCRI's vision for Iran following the end of the clerical rule. It serves as a roadmap for a new democratic rule. Let me point out that number 5 on this 10-point plan elaborates on equality between men and women. It says that during the 6 months mandate, the provisional NCRI government in the future would uphold equality in all areas in Iranian society. Women would receive equal participation in political leadership, have the freedom to choose their clothing, their husbands, and be free to divorce. Ladies and gentlemen, Iranian society is volatile. The regime is struggling in a self-created quagmire of crisis and downward escalation. The Iranian women know that they can and they will attain their rights through regime change, and they will usher in a democratic and pluralistic government. Finally, if you ask as an international community, specifically the women globally, how can you assist? The answer is this: ask your governments to make any political, economic, bilateral, or multilateral relationships with Iran contingent upon restoring human rights, especially women's rights. Again, I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today.